The huge alien ship hung in the sky above New York. It was smooth and silver, shaped like a giant teardrop. People pointed and stared. Some ran. Others took pictures. But most just watched, calm and curious. Inside the United Nations building, Director James Adams straightened his simple blue tie and looked at the military man beside him. "Ready, Captain Rogers?" he asked. Captain Mike Rogers nodded. His face showed no fear, only interest. "Yes, sir. Though I still think it's funny they chose the UN. As if we still use it for anything important." "Well, they don't know that," Adams said with a small smile. "Let's keep it that way." The door opened, and they watched as the aliens walked in. There were 5 of them. The leader stood nearly 7 feet tall with blue-gray skin and 4 arms. It wore what looked like armor made of something like gold. The others were shorter, but just as strange. "Welcome to Earth," Adams said, standing up. He held out his hand, then remembered the briefing. "Ah, sorry. I'm told you don't shake hands. I'm Director Adams, Earth Defense." The tall alien looked down at him. "I am Ambassador Krell of the Galactic Council. We represent 327 advanced species across 12,000 star systems." Its voice sounded like metal grinding on metal. "Nice to meet you," Adams said. "Coffee? Water?" Krell ignored the offer. "We have watched your planet for some time. Your species has potential, but you are still primitive. The Council has decided to offer you membership." "That's kind of you," Adams said, sitting down and motioning for the aliens to do the same. "What does membership involve?" The aliens remained standing. "You will receive protection, technology, knowledge. In return, you will obey Council law, provide resources, and join our military when called upon. So we get some tech, and you get our planet and our people." Rogers asked. "That doesn't sound like a fair trade." Krell turned its large eyes to the captain. "Fair? You misunderstand. This is not a negotiation. The Council does not negotiate with pre-spacefaring species." Adams raised an eyebrow. "Pre-spacefaring? We've been to our moon, sent robots to other planets. Primitive steps." Krell cut in. "You have not yet developed faster than light travel. You have not colonized other worlds. By Council standards, you are barely out of your Stone Age." Rogers laughed. He couldn't help it. The aliens all turned to look at him. Their faces couldn't show much emotion, but their bodies stiffened. "Something amuses you, human?" Krell asked, its voice colder. "Sorry," Rogers said, not looking sorry at all. "It's just, you come here expecting us to bow down because you have bigger ships, and you don't even know who you're talking to." "We know exactly who we are addressing," another alien said. This one was shorter, with green skin and what looked like gills. "We have studied your media, your internet. We know your weaknesses, your wars, your divisions." Adams folded his hands. "I see. And what have you learned about our strengths?" There was a pause. The aliens looked at each other. "Your species shows persistence," Krell said finally. "You adapt well. These are useful traits for the labor forces." Rogers laughed again, louder this time. Krell's upper arms raised slightly. It was clearly angry. "Your behavior is inappropriate, human. Perhaps you do not understand the situation. The Council's fleet includes 10,000 warships. We could reduce your cities to ash from orbit. So why haven't you?" Adams asked calmly. "We prefer willing subjects," Krell said. "Less wasteful. But make no mistake, resistance is not an option." Adams stood up slowly. "Ambassador Krell, we appreciate your visit. We'll need to discuss your offer with our leaders. Can we meet again tomorrow?" "You have 24 Earth hours to accept membership," Krell said. "After that, we will demonstrate our power in a way you cannot ignore." The aliens turned and left without another word. When the door closed, Rogers looked at Adams. "Well, that went about as expected." Adams nodded. Send the recording to command. Tell them to activate protocol laughter." "Yes, sir." Rogers grinned. "Do you think they have any idea?" Adams walked to the window and watched the alien ship hover in the sky. "No. And that's what makes this so perfect." He turned back to Rogers, his eyes bright. "They think they're gods coming down the mountain. They have no idea they just threatened to attack a beehive." Rogers laughed again, but this time, there was something dangerous in the sound. "I almost feel sorry for them. Almost." Outside, the alien ship glowed against the blue sky, powerful and threatening, but not for long. The grand chamber of the Galactic Council glowed with blue light. Hundreds of different aliens sat in rising circles around a central platform. The chamber buzzed with angry voices in many languages. Ambassador Krell stood on the platform, all four arms spread wide. "Silence," it shouted. "The emergency session will now begin." The noise died down slowly. Krell's metallic voice echoed through the chamber. "I have met with the humans of Earth," Krell said. "They are exactly as our report suggested. Primitive, yet dangerously unpredictable." Images of Earth appeared in the air above the platform. Cities, oceans, mountains, and humans going about their lives. "They show no proper respect for the Council," Krell continued. "When told of our power, they showed no fear. Instead, they laughed." Whispers spread through the chamber. Laughing at the Council was unheard of. A smaller alien with pale green skin stood up. "I am Counselor Merrick of the Trill Systems," he said in a soft voice. "Perhaps we should consider why they laughed. No species reacts with humor when truly afraid." High Commander Dex pushed his way onto the platform. Unlike the other aliens, Dex looked almost like a large human, except for his red skin and the ridge of bone where eyebrows would be. His black uniform showed many medals. "Counselor Merrick suggests caution," Dex said, his deep voice filling the chamber. "But caution is what allows primitive species to become threats. I have reviewed the data. Humans are violent, territorial, and they learn quickly. If we do not act now, they could become a real problem in the future." "But direct military action?" Merrick asked. "We haven't done that to a new species in over 200 years." "Because no new species has laughed at us in 200 years, Dex replied. His hand hit a button on his wrist, and new images appeared. Humans fighting wars, testing weapons, launching rockets. "They are already experimenting with dangerous technologies," Dex said, "and they show no respect. This is a dangerous combination." Krell nodded. "I agree with High Commander Dex. The humans need to be taught respect, quickly and firmly." "Let us vote," Dex said. "All in favor of declaring war on Earth, to bring them under Council control." Lights blinked across the chamber as species voted. When it was done, the results appeared in the air. Over 70% had voted yes. "It is decided," Krell announced. "The Council hereby declares war on the species known as humans until they submit to our authority." Dex smiled, showing sharp teeth. "I will lead the first fleet myself. We will target their military bases first, then their largest cities. They will surrender within days." "And if they don't?" Merrick asked quietly. "Then we will show them what real power looks like," Dex said. "They will learn that laughter in the face of the Council is the last mistake any species makes." Back on Earth, Director Adams sat in a large underground room. Screens covered the walls, showing data, star maps, and images of alien ships moving through space. Captain Rogers walked in, holding a tablet. "Sir, we've intercepted a transmission. The Council has officially declared war on Earth." Adams nodded. "They didn't waste any time. What's their first move?" "They're sending a fleet of 500 ships, led by someone called High Commander Dex. Should arrive in about 3 days." "Only 500. Adams looked disappointed. "I was hoping for a real challenge." Rogers laughed. "Well, they think they're being generous. According to their records, the largest fleet we have is about 50 ships, and none with their level of weapons." "What should we tell them?" asked a woman sitting nearby. She wore a simple black uniform with the name Martinez on it. Adams thought for a moment. "Send this message. Earth acknowledges receipt of your declaration. Noted with interest." Martinez raised an eyebrow. "That's it. That's it," Adams said. "Let them wonder what we're thinking." Rogers grinned. "They expect us to beg or threaten. This will confuse them more than anything else we could say." "Exactly," Adams said. He stood up and walked to a large screen showing the approaching alien fleet. "Meanwhile, activate all our hidden platforms. Wake up the deep space monitors. And inform all Earth defense personnel that Operation Laughter is now fully active." "What about evacuations?" Martinez asked. Adams shook his head. "Not necessary. The aliens won't get close enough to hurt anyone." He smiled slightly. "In fact, I almost feel sorry for them." "Almost," Rogers agreed, still grinning. "But not quite." High Commander Dex stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominance *. Through the large viewing window, he could see the blue-green planet Earth hanging in space. His fleet of 500 warships spread out behind him, ready for battle. "Scan the planet again," Dex ordered. "Show me their defenses." A young officer with tentacles instead of arms worked at a control panel. "Sir, scans show only basic satellites and a small space station. No defense platforms, no warships, nothing that could stop even one of our ships." Dex frowned. This didn't make sense. They must be hiding something. No species is this calm when facing our fleet unless they have a plan. "Perhaps they simply don't understand the danger," suggested his second-in-command, a tall, thin alien named Vex. "No," Dex shook his head. "You didn't see the recording. They knew exactly what we could do, and they laughed." He stared at the planet for a long moment. "Begin the attack. Target their military bases first." "Yes, sir." Vex turned to the weapons officer. "Prepare main cannons. Target Earth's largest military installations." The weapons officer worked quickly. "Targets locked." "Sir." "Ready to fire." "Fire," Dex said calmly. Bright beams of energy shot from 50 ships in the fleet, streaking toward Earth's surface. Dex watched with satisfaction. This would teach the humans respect. But something strange happened. Just before the beams hit the atmosphere, they seemed to bend, as if hitting something invisible. Then they vanished completely. "What happened?" Dex demanded. "Report." The weapons officer looked confused. "Sir, our weapons fired correctly, but they didn't hit anything. It's like they disappeared." "Impossible," Dex growled. "Fire again. All ships." This time, the entire fleet fired. Hundreds of energy beams shot toward Earth. Again, they bent and vanished before reaching the surface. "Sir," the scanning officer called out, "I'm detecting strange energy readings around the planet. Some kind of field or barrier we can't see." Dex slammed his fist on a control panel. "They have shield technology." "How is that possible?" "Our reports say they barely understand space travel." At that moment, a face appeared on the main screen of the bridge. It was Director Adams, looking calm and slightly amused. "High Commander Dex, I presume," Adams said. "I hope you're not having technical difficulties with your weapons." Dex stared in shock. "How are you blocking our attacks? Your species doesn't have that technology." Adams smiled. "I think you'll find there's a lot about us you don't know." He leaned forward slightly. "Would you like to discuss terms of peace now, or do you need to waste more energy first?" "We do not discuss peace with primitives," Dex snarled. "Whatever trick you're using won't save you. Prepare physical projectiles." He ordered his crew. "If energy weapons don't work, we'll use missiles." The connection cut off, and Dex watched as his ships launched thousands of missiles toward Earth. Surely these would get through. But again, something strange happened. The missiles slowed down as they approached Earth, then stopped completely, hanging in space like frozen raindrops. "Sir," Vex said quietly, I think we should retreat and reconsider our strategy." Before Dex could answer, every missile suddenly turned around and started moving back toward the fleet. They didn't explode or attack. They simply returned, as if politely rejected. Dex couldn't believe what he was seeing. "This is impossible," he whispered. His communication panel lit up. It was Adams again. "I think that's enough for today," Adams said. "You should take your fleet and go home. Tell the Council that Earth is not interested in war, but we're also not interested in surrendering. If they want to talk as equals, we'll be here." The connection cut off again. Dex stood in silence, his mind racing. Finally, he made a decision. "Order the fleet to withdraw," he said. "Return to Council space." "Sir." Vex looked surprised. "We're retreating." Dex nodded slowly. "For now. But this isn't over." He stared at the peaceful-looking planet. "We need to understand what we're facing before we attack again." In a large room deep under the Rocky Mountains, Director Adams turned away from the screen. Nearby, Professor Wilson, an older man with white hair and bright eyes, was smiling. The dimensional phase shields worked perfectly, Wilson said. They didn't even realize their weapons were being shifted into another dimension. "Good," Adams said. "Now they'll go back and argue about what happened. That should buy us time to prepare for their next move." Captain Rogers grinned, the looks on their faces when the missiles turned around. Adams nodded. "Yes, a nice touch, Martinez," he said to the woman at the control panel. Martinez shrugged. "I thought it made our point better than just making them disappear." "So what's next?" Rogers asked. 1 week after the first attack, the Council chamber was in chaos. High Commander Dex stood in the center, facing angry questions from all sides. "You failed," shouted a reptilian counselor. 500 ships, and you couldn't even touch their planet. "They have technology they shouldn't have," Dex argued. "Some kind of shield that bends energy, but we have a new plan." Counselor Merrick leaned forward. "Perhaps we should consider that we underestimated these humans. Maybe we should try talking to them instead." "Talk," Dex laughed bitterly. "After they humiliated us. No, we will show them the true power of the Council." He touched a control pad, and an image appeared above the platform. "This is the Hammer Fleet, 2,000 ships with our most powerful weapons. Energy weapons that they already proved don't work," Merrick asked. "Not just energy weapons," Dex said with a cold smile. "We will use physical weapons too. Old-style kinetic bombs, even missiles with simple chemical explosives. Their fancy shields can't stop everything." The Council voted again. This time, the margin was smaller, but they still approved Dex's plan for a second, larger attack. On Earth, Director Adams and his team watched the new fleet approach. "They've brought a lot more ships this time," Rogers noted. "And they're carrying different weapons." Professor Wilson studied his screens. "They're going low-tech. Kinetic weapons, chemical explosives. Things they think our phase shields can't handle." "Can they?" Adams asked. Wilson smiled. "No. But I think it's time we showed them something new." Adams nodded. "Activate the Laughing Defense." High Commander Dex watched with satisfaction as his massive fleet moved into position around Earth. This time, they would not fail. "Begin the attack," he ordered. "All weapons." The fleet fired everything at once. Energy beams, missiles, and thousands of solid metal projectiles, all racing toward Earth. Like before, the energy beams bent and vanished. But this time, Dex watched carefully what happened to the physical weapons. They didn't turn back or stop. Instead, they seemed to hit something unseen around the planet, and where they hit, tiny points of light appeared. "What's happening?" he demanded. His science officer looked confused. "Sir, our weapons, they seem to be feeding something. Each impact is creating energy that's being absorbed by millions of tiny objects around the planet." Suddenly, every screen on the bridge lit up. Director Adams appeared, But this time he wasn't alone. Dozens of human faces filled the screens, all wearing the same knowing smile. "Thank you for the energy donation," Adams said. "Our microsatellite network really appreciates it." Around the planet, Dex could now see them. Millions of tiny satellites, each no bigger than a human hand, glowing with the energy from his attack. "What is this?" Dex demanded. "We call it the Laughing Defense," Adams replied. "Your weapons can't hurt us. They only make us stronger." As if on cue, the humans on the screen began to laugh. Not mocking laughter, but genuine amusement, as if they were watching children play a game. "Stop this attack," Adams said, still smiling. "You're only wasting your resources and making our defense grid stronger." To prove his point, the microsatellites began to move, forming patterns around the planet, shapes that looked like smiling human faces. "This is impossible," Dex whispered. "No species has this level of technology." "We do," Adams said simply. "Now will you leave peacefully, or do you want to continue donating energy to us?" Dex stared at the screen, then at the glowing satellites that now surrounded his fleet. With a feeling of defeat, he gave the order, "All ships, retreat immediately." As the Council fleet turned to leave, they could still hear the sound of human laughter echoing through their communication systems. Back in the command center, Rogers turned to Adams. "That went well." "Yes," Adams agreed, "but they'll be back. And next time, they'll bring everything they have." "Good," Professor Wilson said. "The more they'd bring, the more we learn about their technology." "And what about Counselor Merrick?" Martins asked. "Our spies say he's been asking questions about us, trying to understand why we're so confident." Adams nodded. "Contact him quietly. It's time we found some allies in the Council." "And Dex?" Rogers asked. "Dex won't stop until he's beaten completely," Adams said. "Which means we'll need to show him just how outmatched he really is." The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had never been so quiet. The usual buzz of conversation was gone, replaced by a tense silence as members watched the recordings of Earth's defense systems in action. "Two failed attacks," Counselor Merrick said, breaking the silence. "Thousands of ships, our best weapons, and we couldn't even touch their atmosphere." He looked directly at High Commander Dex. "Perhaps it's time to ask ourselves why we're fighting this war at all." Dex stood rigid, his red face darker with anger. "You suggest we surrender to primitives?" "Never. They've been lucky, that's all." "Lucky?" Another counselor, a floating cloud of gas contained in a clear shell, moved forward. "They turned our weapons against us. They laughed at our attacks." "This is not luck, Commander. This is superior technology." The council chamber erupted in argument. Dex's supporters shouted about council pride and human arrogance. Merrick's faction argued for peace and new understanding. Krell, who had been silent until now, raised all four arms. "Enough." The chamber quieted. "We have never faced a situation like this. A species that should be primitive, yet possesses technology beyond our understanding." "There is only one explanation," Dex said. "They stole this technology from another race. Perhaps they found ancient ruins on their planet, or captured a crashed ship." Merrick shook his head. "That theory doesn't explain their confidence. They knew exactly what we would do, and they were prepared for it." "Whatever the case," Krell said, "we cannot continue as we have been. The Council will vote once more. Do we pursue peace with humans, or do we escalate the war?" The vote was close this time, very close, but in the end, Dex's faction won by a small margin. "The Council has decided," Krell announced. "We will launch one final, overwhelming attack on Earth. Every available ship, every weapon in our arsenal." Merrick stood up. "I cannot support this. I will have no part in it." "Then you are a traitor," Dex snarled. "No," Merrick said calmly. "I am a realist, and I fear you are leading the Council to disaster." Meanwhile, in a small, unmarked ship far from both Earth and Council space. Counselor Merrick sat across from Ambassador Lisa Taylor, the first human diplomat to meet privately with a council member. "Thank you for agreeing to this meeting," Taylor said. She was a tall woman with dark skin and sharp eyes. "I think we have a lot to talk about." "Indeed," Merrick replied, "starting with how your planet has technology that should be impossible for your level of development." Taylor smiled. "That's simple. We're not as young as you think we are." She touched a control pad, and a hologram appeared between them, showing the history of human space exploration. But it didn't begin with the moon landings as Merrick expected. Instead, it showed much earlier dates, going back centuries. "This can't be right," Merrick said, studying the timeline. "This says humans achieved dimensional phase shifting over 300 years ago." "That's correct," Taylor nodded. "We discovered multidimensional physics before we even had computers." "But how?" Merrick asked. "And why hide it?" "A lucky accident," Taylor said. "A scientist studying light discovered that reality has many layers. As for hiding it," she shrugged, "we could see what was happening in the galaxy. The Council's way of doing things, taking over younger species, using them for resources and labor. We decided to wait and watch." Merrick looked stunned. "You've been watching us. For how long?" "Centuries," Taylor replied. "We've had observers throughout Council space. Ships that can shift between dimensions are invisible to your sensors." "And your people, where are they?" Taylor's smile widened. "Everywhere. We have colonies on thousands of worlds. Not large ones, just small outposts, hidden in dimensional pockets that your technology can't detect." Merrick sat back, trying to process this information. "So when Ambassador Krell threatened Earth, we were already far more widespread than the Council," Taylor finished for him. "Destroying Earth would have been tragic, but it wouldn't have ended humanity." "Dex is preparing a final attack," Merrick said, "with everything the Council has." Taylor nodded. "We know. We've been expecting it." She leaned forward. "The question is, Counselor Merrick, which side of history do you want to be on?" High Commander Dex stood on the bridge of his new flagship, the Ultimate Victory *. Around him stretched the largest fleet ever assembled by the Galactic Council, 10,000 warships from 300 different species. "Status report," Dex demanded, his voice tight with tension. "All ships ready, Commander," Vex replied. "The planet killer weapons are armed and locked." Dex nodded. He had spent the last month preparing this attack. Nearly half the Council had opposed it, led by that traitor Merrick, but Dex had pushed it through anyway. "This time, we will not fail," Dex said. "Even with their strange technology, they cannot stop this many ships at once." The massive fleet moved toward Earth, their engines glowing against the darkness of space. This time, Dex had a new strategy. Instead of attacking from one direction, the fleet would surround the planet completely. And they carried special weapons, planet killers that could crack a world in half. "Sir," Vex said quietly, "Counselor Merrick sent one last message. He says it's not too late to stop this." "Ignore it," Dex snarled. "Begin the attack sequence." The fleet spread out, forming a sphere around Earth. On Dex's command, they fired all weapons at once. But something strange happened. As the weapons fire approached Earth, the planet seemed to shimmer like heat rising from hot ground. Then, to the shock of everyone watching, Earth simply vanished. "What?" Dex shouted. "Where did it go? Scan the area." "Sir," a scanning officer reported, voice shaking, "the planet is just gone. No trace of it anywhere." The weapons fire continued through empty space where Earth had been, the beams crossing and missing their target completely. Dex stared in disbelief. "This is impossible. No species can move an entire planet." Suddenly, the bridge lights dimmed. On every screen and display, Director Adams appeared, looking calm as ever. "High Commander Dex," Adams said, I see you brought friends. What have you done with your planet? Dex demanded. Adams smiled. We haven't done anything with it. We simply shifted it slightly out of phase with your dimension. Your weapons are passing through the space where Earth appears to be, but we're not quite there anymore. No species has this power, Dex insisted. We do. Adams replied simply. And now, I think it's time we ended this one-sided war. Before Dex could respond, alarms blared across his ship. Sir, Vex shouted. Unknown vessels appearing behind our fleet. On the screens, Dex watched in horror as hundreds of human ships suddenly appeared, as if from nowhere. They weren't large or particularly threatening-looking, but they moved with impossible speed, weaving between the Council vessels. Target those ships, Dex ordered. Destroy them. But the weapons wouldn't fire. Across the entire fleet, weapon systems went dead. Engines shut down. Even life support dimmed, though it didn't fail completely. Sir, Vex reported, all offensive systems are offline. We're helpless. A new alarm sounded. Intruder alert on the bridge. Someone shouted. The air in the center of the bridge shimmered, and suddenly Captain Mike Rogers stood there, wearing a simple black uniform with no visible weapons. Hello, Commander Dex, Rogers said with a smile. I thought it was time we met in person. How did you get on my ship? Dex demanded, reaching for his sidearm. Rogers raised an eyebrow, and Dex found he couldn't move his arm. Dimensional shifting, Rogers explained. We can move between realities at will. Your shields, your walls, even your weapons, they only exist in one dimension. We exist in many. What do you want? Dex asked, his voice hoarse. To deliver a message, Rogers replied. We could have ended this at any time. We could have destroyed your entire fleet without effort. We could have shifted your homeworlds into empty space, or changed their orbital paths, or 100 other things. He stepped closer to Dex. But we don't want war. We never did. That was your choice, not ours. What happens now? Dex asked. Now, Rogers said, you take your fleet and go home. Tell the Council the war is over. Not because you won, and not because we destroyed you, but because we chose to spare you. The captain smiled again, almost kindly. Your weapons will come back online once you're far from Earth. And then, if the Council is wise, they'll send diplomats next time, not warships. With that, Rogers vanished as suddenly as he had appeared, leaving Dex staring at empty space. 1 month after the failed final assault, the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council looked very different. The rising seats were only half filled. Many council members had withdrawn their representatives after the humiliating defeat. Others simply didn't know what to do next. At the center of the chamber stood a group that would have been unthinkable before. 5 humans, led by Director Adams and Ambassador Taylor, alongside Councilor Merrick. The council recognizes the representatives of Earth, Krell announced, all 4 arms held low in a gesture of respect that would have been unimaginable weeks ago. Adams stepped forward. Thank you for agreeing to this meeting. We come with an invitation, not demands. A murmur ran through the chamber. No one knew what to expect from these strange humans who had defeated their greatest fleet without firing a shot. High Commander Dex sat in the shadows at the edge of the chamber. He had been removed from his command, but allowed to attend as an observer. His face showed no emotion, but his eyes never left the humans. You have proven your power, Krell said. What do you want from us? Partnership, Taylor replied simply. The Galactic Council has existed for thousands of years, bringing species together. That's good, but you've been doing it wrong. More murmurs, some angry. Taylor continued, untroubled. You divide species into categories. Advanced, developing, primitive. You decide who gets rights based on their technology. But technology isn't wisdom. She gestured around the chamber. Some of your youngest member species have cultural and philosophical insights your oldest members could learn from. Adams stepped forward. We propose a reorganization of the Council as an equal partnership of all intelligent species, regardless of their technological development. Impossible, someone shouted. How can a pre-spacefaring race have equal say with those who have traveled the stars for millennia? Because intelligence and worth aren't measured by ships and weapons, Adams replied calmly. We hid our technology because we saw how you treated those you considered beneath you. We wanted to be judged by who we are, not what we can build. Professor Wilson, who had joined the human delegation, activated a small device. Above the council floor, a hologram appeared showing multiple transparent layers of reality, each slightly different from the others. This is how we see the universe, Wilson explained. Reality has many layers. We learned to move between them centuries ago. The hologram change, showing human ships moving through dimensions, colonies hidden in phase-shifted pockets of space, and energy being drawn from parallel realities. We could have revealed ourselves at any time, Taylor said. We chose not to because we weren't sure you were ready for partnership. Adams looked directly at Krell. Are you ready now? The chamber fell silent. Finally, Counselor Merrick spoke. I have spent time with the humans. They could have destroyed us. Instead, they offer to share their knowledge, their perspective. He turned to face the other council members. I believe we should accept their invitation. Krell was quiet for a long moment. Then, the council will vote one final time. Do we accept humanity's offer of partnership and reorganization? The vote wasn't even close. After seeing Earth's power and hearing their offer, the vast majority voted yes. Krell turned to Adams. The council accepts your invitation. We will begin the reorganization immediately. Adams smiled. Then let's make it official. He turned to Captain Rogers, who carried a simple metal case. Rogers opened it to reveal a bottle of champagne, a human tradition. Adams explained, we share a drink to celebrate new beginnings. As the humans poured drinks for everyone, the tension in the chamber finally broke. Species that had been at war just weeks ago began to talk, to share ideas, to laugh together. From his place in the shadows, Dex watched with a mixture of anger and reluctant respect. They beat us without firing a shot, he whispered to himself. And now they've changed everything. 1 month later, Earth hosted the first gathering of the new Galactic Alliance. Representatives from 500 species came, some who had never been allowed council membership before. As he watched them mingle in the Great Hall of the United Nations building, Adams turned to Rogers with a smile. You know, he said, we've been waiting to throw this party for centuries. Rogers laughed. Was it worth the wait? Adams looked around at the diverse gathering of beings from across the galaxy, all talking as equals for the first time. Absolutely, he said. This is how it should have been all along.